What's up YouTube, Capital G here. Got an incredibly explosive duel for you guys to check out. This one showcases the power and the potential of Morphtronics. Morphtronics, a very old archetype from like the 5Ds days. A lot of people considered it kind of table 500. It wasn't because Morphtronics it wasn't because they lacked offense and because they didn't have explosive plays. It's really because the deck is kind of gimmicky. A lot of the effects they revolve around dice rolls and stuff like that, which is obviously, that's just death for like competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! You don't generally want to play a deck like that, but this deck can make some incredibly strong plays. I think I have a duel on my channel that shows Morphtronics making like double Quasar and a Crystal Wing like turn 1. The deck does have that type of ceiling. Obviously, Master Rule 4 took a dump on that. However, with the release of Crystron Needle Fiber, that ceiling has been raised up. You see that he does have like Blazar Dragon, and he has like Trishula and Crystal Wing, and you're going to see him make a lot of strong monsters in one turn. So let's go ahead and roll it. I looked at this Goki hand. I was saying, please, I hope you're not going first. This hand looks like a pile of hot garbage, and thankfully he was not going first. I believe that Morphtronics aren't doing much either. One of the cool things about Morphtronics and a lot of the GX decks, decks from GX and decks from 5Ds, is because they're so old, they were all created at a time where there were no hard once returns in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, Morphtronics have Selfon, which is a card that is amazing, and you can summon it from 1 for 1, and it basically can be activated like 6 times in a turn, which you're going to see that card used over and over and over and over and over again. Even some of the good support cards like Iron Call, like it's not a hard once per turn either. So anyways, it goes Borreload, Isode. This field looks a lot better, and the play ended up being a lot better than what his opening hand would make you believe. So, especially with that Effect Veiler, like this actually looks like a pretty competent play. Having the Borreload, not having the Goki, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, like it was a pretty good play in my opinion. So, let's see exactly what he's going to be able to do. Morphtronics. Getting rid of Borreload is not that difficult for Morphtronics because they do have a spell. I forget what the name of it is, but you send a Morphtronic back from your hand into your deck. You end up blowing up one of your opponent's monsters on the field, and then you end up drawing a card. He goes for Needle Fiber. That gets shut down with Effect Veiler, but it's all Gucci because if he can just, well, as long as he can keep resolving like Selfon, he's okay. And he's going to fix his hand there. He has another copy of Iron Call. Again, another support card. And if you're wondering what's going on, like, why he keeps like looking at cards from the top of his deck, basically what happens with the Morphtronics and their die roll effects is this card is nuts. Actually, before I even explain, this is what really makes Morphtronics nuts, is when you can go into Formula Synchron and then you can defuse, because not only can you go back into Formula Synchron and draw another card, but you get live effects again. So he gets Selfon back on the field and he gets Smartphone back on the field. This is awesome. These were the days where like smartphones actually look like this. Thank God. Thank God we aren't in those days again. But if you're wondering why he keeps like excavating or revealing cards, the Morphtronic cards, they reveal from the top of your deck, equivalent to a number that you roll on a die, and then you basically, like with Selfon, any Morphotronic monsters that you reveal from those cards, then you basically just summon it. And as long as he can keep resolving Selfon, there's that card right there that I just talked about. Let's actually figure out what this card's name is. This is Morphtronic Accelerator. Yeah, that's how he got rid of Borreload, because I was wondering, I was like, Borreload might be a problem, but not really. You see Selfon has hit the field again, and he just keeps activating it over and over. He should be able to summon Smartphone, which he does, and he's gonna roll a 3. I don't think he activated the effect there, but it looks like he's going to synchro up. He got 1 for 1, which gets him Selfon again. I think at this point, he's probably resolved Selfon like 5 times in this turn, but that's basically what you have to do. You just have to keep spamming Selfon and keep activating it over and over again, and there are so many different ways of getting to it. Obviously, this is a synchro-centric deck, so you run Soul Charge, and when you make Skulldeat, you get additional summons from the Skulldeat. So he's going to make Crystal Wing, Synchro Dragon, and I think he might be looking for a Trishula here as well. Activates his Morphtronic Monster Reborn, essentially. 1 for 1, not 1 for 1, but Machine Duplication is also nuts in this deck because you can get 3 Selfons and you don't even have to normal summon it because you can bring it out from 1 for 1. And that right there is an OTK because Trishula comes down, brings out the whooping stick, and yeah, I lost count honestly how many times he used Selfon, but believe me, like with this Soul Charge, he could have went even more ham if he was going first. He probably would have made, like, if he was going first, he wouldn't have made Trishula. He probably would have went for Cosmic Blazar Dragon and then tried to make, I don't know, probably something else in addition to that. Maybe No, I think Blazar Dragon with Skulldeat plus a Crystal Wing, like, I'm pretty sure most opponents are going to struggle against that. Evenly matched, basically, or bust in that situation. And you still have to bait out the Blazar Dragon. So let me go ahead and pause for a second and show you guys the deck. So this is what the deck looks like on paper, and it's basically as synchro spammy as you might imagine. In fact, it looks kind of like a prototypical synchro spam deck. If you look at other archetypes that play this style, like Fabled or, you know, Junk Synchron variants, Junk Doppel, whatever, they all kind of have a spell lineup that's somewhat similar to this. You are going to have to run some gimmicky cards like Magical Stone Excavation. You're probably going to max out on that because you're looking to activate things like Desynchro over and over and over again. Almost all of these decks that run Formula Synchron run Desynchro, because Formula Synchron is actually more important in a deck like this, as you guys saw in the duel, because not only are you able to go back into your Formula Synchron and draw an additional card, which most of the time will mean an additional card on top of that with TG Hyper Librarian, but it also means in this deck that you can activate Selfon another time. You have your kind of like standard one-of power cards like Regeki. In every Synchro deck ever, you're probably going to see 1-for-1, and you're going to see Soul Charge. Obviously, Soul Charge is just dumb in Synchro decks, but also a lot of these Synchro decks run level 1 monsters, whether it be Glow Up Bulb or Level Eater. You see 1-for-1 in almost all of these builds, and not only does it search out your Selfon, but then there's also like other level 1s, but most of the time you're going to get Selfon, and if you resolve a machine duplication with Selfon, most of the time you're going to win the duel, unless your opponent has max C, and I don't know, like, you just can't deck them out because there are no traps in this deck. So basically, if you're going first, you're just trying to make stuff like Blazar Dragon, you're trying to make Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Zeta's not bad in this deck, obviously. Naturia Beast, just kind of make as many stun monsters as possible.